Very good. That's where.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Coon. Next on our agenda is the minutes from the council meeting on March the 25th. Each of you received in your packet a set of the minutes. Is there any additions, corrections, objections to the minutes as presented to council? Being none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Ms. Colby, is there a second? Mr. Peters, second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Next, we'll begin our committee reports. We'll begin with utilities. Mr. Newkirk.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Newkirk. Next, budget and finance. Ms. Colby. No report. Thank you, Ms. Colby. Next is police, fire, and traffic. Mr. Foster.
I have nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Next is service. Mr. Peters.
Before the regular council meeting, we had a DORA meeting, organizational meeting, basically. More to follow on that.
Thought the turnout was good?
Yep, turnout was good. Seems like there'll be some participation, so we'll be moving forward with that, and we will probably schedule some more meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Next is the auditor's report. Mr. Reed.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Kirby, not able to join us this evening. Chief Hinch, not able to join us this evening, so we'll go right into the mayor's report. Mayor Evans.
The only thing I'm going to update on tonight is we did have a planning commission meeting prior to the meeting, and that commission did recommend to council that we approve the zoning regulation updates. That I think there's 3 ordinances we're going to look at tonight for first reading, and they did recommend those be approved. So they'll be up later for first reading. That's all.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, Mr. Schweikhammer.
The only thing that we're still looking for some seasonal help to help us up until the 1st of June and then after mid-August through the end of the mowing season. I think we've got enough of I'll call them school and college age individuals to help us during the summer. We're still lacking both the beginning and end of the mowing season.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Any questions for the service director?
I have one.
Yes, sir. Mr. Elliott.
I would have asked Chief Hinch, but he's not here. It's about these high-speed chases. I suppose there are policies about high-speed chases.
They do have guidelines that they've established for when to break off.
I mean, why chase somebody if it's a minor offense and risk people's lives? That's what. I never will forget years ago they chased someone down Broadway and they plowed right into the house next door. And it was a minor thing. So ever since then I thought, why chase people if, I don't know, if they're wild or something?
Yeah, I mean, part of that is at the discretion of the officer, but they have established some guidelines as well.
Well, about the time someone gets killed. So I think it's serious. Anyway, I wanted to bring it up.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Mr. Bach?
I have a question. You know what the bad weather we just recently had, the city of Jackson does not have a alarm system, right, for tornadoes or any, is that right?
There is not an official tornado alarm system, that is correct.
Is there such thing as grants that we could possibly look into if that's,
If that was determined as something that is needed, I know, I'll speak for myself, I follow the county, and I know some of the other ones, I'll use Colton for example, I think theirs went off less than a minute before the wind event came through. So I don't have a good answer for you.
it's just something that, well, Pete Wilson was explaining to me that there was a possibility of a tornado touchdown in the western part of Jackson. So I just wondered, if that was just something that, that we could look at so that in the future we don't have to.
We did have it. We have it in the past, but I think it started calling people at 3 in the morning, and at 5 in the morning, and at 6 in the morning, and everybody bowed out of it, and I think the city got tired of paying for the, I think it might have been expensive.
The notification phone system?
Yeah.
I think he's meaning alarm.
Yeah, tornado siren. Yeah, it's different than a pole.
So I still get a call from that other, whatever it's called,
Outreach.
outreach, yeah.
Are we still paying for that, by the way? I don't know.
Yes, we are, because we use it for other things.
Yeah, it should be used for everything.
So was it the old manpower school that used to have the bell or the siren went off every day at 3 o'clock? Does anybody remember that? I'm not thinking of factory down there.
It was a last whistle word.
Everyone in town pretty much heard that. I think what he's saying is a good idea, because we're sort of disconnected from our local, what's really going on locally. We're more, the social media and everything, we're just not really as in tune to what's going on inside the city. I don't think a siren would be a bad thing to have. If there's actually a tornado on the ground, I think it would help a lot of people.
The way Mr. Swagman was saying that it's only as effective as the notice. Like he said, they had one in Colton and they set it off like 2 minutes before the event. So how much warning is that? So,
Need to take cover.
If we had a tornado warning, it wouldn't have went off because the National Weather Service did not give any tornado warnings in this county. We did end up having one out in Liberty Township, but there was no notice from the National Weather Service. We had a watch, but never a warning.
That was going to be my next statement, is who is certified to actually determine that and set off the tone? You'd have to have somebody that is capable of making that decision.
But to answer Pete's original question, I have no knowledge of one ever being here since we've been here, or any discussion of it. I assume this would might be countywide emergency management topic even, I don't really know. It's never come up for us until last week. And then a couple people asked me, that's why.
this is not tornado related.
That's okay.
Okay. There is water leaking out of the ground everywhere you turn in the city. I let you know a couple places, still, as of 2 days ago, still water running out of the ground in those spots. There's a spot where they dug part of the right-of-way up, and there's still clean water running into the storm drains. They're replacing the water line on South Street right now. I'm still dumbfounded why they're not, if they're abandoning the line, why we're not burying the new line in the right-of-way instead of under the street. Dumbfounded by that. So we have a right-of-way with no utilities in it, except meters. Doesn't make any sense. But why, what is going on? That's treated water, it's drinking water. Why are we just letting it run out on the ground? Like, why are we not fixing?
You referring to the one in South Street?
I'm referring to the one at Call Auto Sales. There's water coming out of the meter, out of the street. In front of the Cambrian, there's water coming out of the shut-off, I'm assuming is what's in the street. They fixed something there by old Oak Hill Banks, dug it up, and That's just the route that if I walk through town, that's the route I go. I see water and I like I said, reached out. It's still running out of the ground. That's a problem. Where they're replacing the lines on South Street all weekend. I know there's probably weird connections and whatnot, but there's water running out of the ground at South and Portsmouth. There was all weekend. Even when it was dry, there's still water running up into the storm drains. Which leads me to another issue that I've noticed is where the water is leaking, there are storm drains that are 3 or 4 inches above the grade of the road. So I'm not an engineer, but water is going to follow the path of least resistance. So basically water has to pour up 3 inches to go into the storm drain. Like, I lost count of how many of those I saw. We're spending a lot of money, the taxpayers are spending a lot of money, and it looks like some of this stuff is new work, and it's still broken.
I'll take part of that. We've replaced a lot of storm catch basins. Those that have went back in are at the height of where the new pavement will be. So hopefully those that you're seeing with that lip are the ones that have been replaced recently and the street isn't repaved. If that's not the case, let me know. The one on South Street, we know we've got the continual leak there, but we could cause more damage going in and tearing it up and making the repair rather than letting it continue to leak right now until we get the main line down through there.
So that line's going to eventually make it to Center Street, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually Main Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes clear down to Main. The one up on Church and there by the West Banco intersection, it was a similar situation. We tore it up and it ended up splitting 8 feet long. So now we have to make an 8 feet repair. So some of these you have to plan and be ready for before you just tear in to look at a single location. I don't know who you reach out to on all of them. Some of them I'm aware of, we've talked about, but especially the one on South Street will get taken care of when we come past there. It's better off to let it continue to leak rather than touch it and maybe cause a worse problem. That's just how old some of these lines are.
I'll just add a little bit to that. The one out in front of the Cambrian is coming right up in the street, is around the valve stem. Also down by Colorado, there's one that's actually at a valve leaking. There's 2 valves, 2 very old valves that they had to activate to fix the break over there on the other side of church. And once they those old valves, once they turn them, then they start leaking around the stem at the top of the valve. And our water people are aware of both of them, but it's a tough fix, short of digging it up and putting in a new valve.
So are those just like shut-offs, like just shut off, like, that's all those are?
They're shut-off.
If I see like a meter hole in the middle of the street, those are just shut-offs, is what you're saying?
Yes, those are shut-off valves, and they had to activate that one up in front of the Cambrian to fix the leak down by, the major leak we had last weekend down by church.
So what it does is just, isolate certain lines.
Yeah, they try to shut it off.
So what's the timeline on that? It's been a couple weeks
Timeline on what?
to get all that fixed.
I don't know. All I know is the water department is aware of it. I don't know. We got a lot going on. And every water line that we haven't replaced in the city of Jackson needs replaced. And every valve, and there's like thousands of them, they're all old, most of them are old and need replaced. We'll never get done. I just found just a look earlier this evening, I was sent a picture of one of the lines that we are replacing over on Orange Street, how bad a shape it was in. And my reply was that every water line in the city of Jackson needs replaced. And we're just touching the surface of them.
One more quick question so we can move on. Do we run into any issues where there are old lead lines, like everybody's heard the horror story of Flint, Michigan, where they still don't have any water that you can drink? Would we have any issues or anything like that?
We suspect there's some lead and some old service lines, but we don't know, because it would be from the meter to the house, and we don't always know what that is, or even in the house.
Other questions for Service Director? Being none, we move on to the ordinance and resolution section. This evening we'll begin with ordinances on third reading. First ordinance is ordinance 1324. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the water fund for Apple Tower maintenance and repairs and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Ordinance 1324 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, ordinance third reading is ordinance 1424. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance repealing and amending the City of Jackson's codified ordinance sections 303.11 regarding towing of vehicles by city.
Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 1324 is duly adopted. Next, first reading, ordinance 1624. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the Hammertown Lake Improvements Project Fund and declaring an emergency.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1624 as presented to council? Ms. Colby, second by Mr. Elliott. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Schwackhammer.
Yes, when we got the two grants for the Hammertown project, those were reimbursement grants. Therefore, I had transferred money from 228 over to make those projects happen. We now are getting the reimbursements back. So 16 and 17 are directly related in order to get the money back to the 228 account from where it originated.
Thank you, Mr. Schwackhammer. Other discussion?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules so we can move the reimbursement back to the account.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Bach. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 1624 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 1724. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance transferring funds to reimburse funds advanced for the Hammertown Lake Improvements Project and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt? Mr. Peters, is there a second? Mr. Newkirk, wrote the wrong number down here, 1724, I'm sorry. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Excuse me, counsel, for this, I wrote the wrong number there, I was looking at. Discussion.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Ms. Colby, second? Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 1724 is duly adopted. Next, council consideration, first reading, ordinance 1824. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the Mill Street Sewer Project Fund and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 1824? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Ms. Colby? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Reed?
This is the same situation. Last year, we moved part of the money back to the sewer, and this was money that we had seeded, and it was transfer out, and it advanced out to it, not transfer, I'm sorry, and we couldn't transfer the whole amount back in. We were 10,000 short. We have got the money now to move back to complete it. So this is just a bookkeeping thing for us, just like the last one, moving the $10,000 back.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
This one and the next one.
Mr. Reed? Other discussion?
Mr. President, I'll move to suspend the rules to transfer that back to the fund.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Elliott. Is there discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Peters. Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Ordinance 1824 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, ordinance 1924, first reading. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance transferring funds to reimburse funds advanced for the Mill Street Sewer Project and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 1924 as presented to council? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Ms. Colby, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Reed?
This is just the second half of that. This is moving the money actually back to the sewer fund.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
President, move to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Peters. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Crabtree. Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters. Yes. Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Ordinance 1924 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 2024. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the Lillian Jones Museum Fund and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 2024 as presented to council? Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Mr. Crabtree, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Schweikhammer.
Yes, the Lillian Jones Board of Directors, they have been challenged with the task of inventorying all the assets associated. They are hiring 3 seasonal, basically summer individuals to help the director do so. This is the funding to cover that.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Other discussion? Mr. Elliott.
I'll ask Mr. Reed this question. Does this come from the general?
They have a surplus this year. They're not taking additional out of the trust to do this.
Okay, that's my question.
You're covered that way, yes.
Very good.
And if I might also add, these individuals are scheduled to start the 1st of June, so there's a timeline.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second by Mr. Newkirk. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster. Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Ordinance 2024 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 2124. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Chapter 2, to remove family care home and group care home as a conditional use and to add small residential facilities, emergency protective shelters, large residential facilities, permanent supportive housing, and residential treatment facilities and transitional living centers, and declaring an emergency.
Do I get a motion to adopt ordinance 2124 as presented to council? Mr. Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby, second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discussion. Ordinances 21, 22, and 23 are all related. They are updates to our current zoning regulations. We had a planning commission meeting earlier this evening, and the planning commission does recommend that the council approve these updates. As you all know, we are updating our entire zoning regulation book. These are some areas that we're going ahead and asking you to update
earlier, and the rest of it will be later this year. We do anticipate that these changes are the same as they will be in the final full book of changes and updates. Any questions?
Any discussion?
I would like to add that we're only asking for first reading tonight, so if you have time to study through this, and then there will be there'll be a public hearing before the third reading to receive input from the public about these proposed zoning changes.
Other discussion?
Just for the record, this is under the document of the crossroads.
Yep, this is a request of Service Director Slackhammer, who has had some issues come up that our old zoning just doesn't deal with. He just doesn't have proper guidance. So this is from Crossroads, these ordinances are from Crossroads, who are updating our entire zoning book. This is just one small part of it, for us to go ahead and move forward with.
Thank you, Mayor. Other discussion? Any further action to be taken on ordinance 2124? Hearing none, this constitutes the first reading of ordinance 2124. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 2224. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Chapter 5, to remove Section K regulations for family care and group care homes and replace it with Section K regulations for emergency protective shelters, permanent supportive housing, large residential facilities, and residential treatment facilities, and transitional living centers, and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt ordinance 2224 as presented to council? Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Ms. Colby, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Any further action to be taken on ordinance 2224? Hearing none, this constitutes the first reading of ordinance 2224. Next, for council consideration, ordinance 2324. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Chapter 9, to add definitions for emergency protective shelters, permanent supportive housing, residential treatment facilities, and transitional living centers, and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 2324 as presented to council? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Second. Mr. Elliott, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Any further action to be taken on ordinance 2324 as presented to council? Hearing none, this constitutes the first reading of ordinance 2324. This concludes our ordinance section this evening. I thank council for their work this evening with these ordinances. I don't believe, Ms. Coon, we have any correspondence? You do?
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
First is from the Department of Commerce. It's a liquor control, transfer of license from Marie Laveau's. We have these often, just need council to state whether or not they want to have a hearing. See a motion on that?
Mr. President, I would move to waive the hearing.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bach. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
I also have an email from somebody from the Southeast Ohio Building Department. They do inspections that are required by the state legislature, and they were just interested in providing this service to the residents of the City of Jackson, so if anyone's interested in that, I have that information.
Thank you, Ms. Coon. Under old business, just a reminder of our meeting with the Crossroads Community Planning on April 29th at 6:15 here in Chambers, dealing with zoning. Any other old business to be brought before council? Mr. Bach?
I was asked by a person, the yellow signs are all on these buildings. One's coming up on a year old, and I told him that it's probably caught up in the courts. Is that the correct answer, or what is the
There's various things going on with those. Some of them are in probate, and the placarding is because of unsafe conditions. Having those resolved and permanently taken care of, a lot of that is probate. Some of those are other issues. Believe me, we'd like to be able to take care of all of them, but just can't.
I just told him it's tied up in the courts, and that's...
Each one is individual. If somebody wants to come to us, we can tell them the situation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bach. Any other old business?
If I may, on the Crossroads, they told us by the 15th that they will have the first draft, and Cindy will then be getting it out to all of you. So that'll give you almost 2 weeks before the 29th when they're back down here. So if you have any early questions, I'm going to recommend you get those to Cindy maybe by our meeting on the 22nd, and that way she can reach back out to them, and hopefully they can address those, and we can continue to move this right along.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Under new business, just a reminder, there is a public hearing before our meeting on May 13th, and that will be at 6:30.
I was also asked, what is council's intentions as of right now for the May 27th, which is a holiday?
What's the pleasure of council? Memorial Day.
We didn't have it last year.
I think Ms. Kuhn, we discussed this before the meeting a little bit, and she reminded me that last year we
I know we did on Columbus Day.
took that day, we took that meeting date off. Mark it off.
Just my opinion.
So, we have a motion then to state that we will not be having a meeting on May 27th. It would actually fall, then our next meeting after the 13th of May will fall then on June the 10th. A motion to state that.
Yeah, I'll move to cancel the 27th meeting, we'll have a regular scheduled meeting on the 10th, and I'll let you know that I won't be here on June 10th. So, go ahead and mark that on your calendar as well.
Oh, yes, June 10th. Okay.
There's a motion on the floor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joe has seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Any other new business to be brought before council? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Mr. Bob seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Stand in adjournment.